Well, here we are. We want to interview Melissa and find out exactly what happened on her mission trip that she took to Honduras. A lot of times we hear of people in college or in our high school group going on mission trips, whether it be to Africa or South America or Central America. And we hear about it, and sometimes we even see pictures, but we don't really have a lot of time to really talk to them about what was involved in the trip. So that's what we want to know. So, well, first of all, Melissa, why did you want to go on a mission trip?
Well, I've always heard about people going on mission trips, and all my family members have always gone on mission trips, and they tell me about, like, how eye-opening it is. Because if we live in America, which is one of the richest countries in the world, and we don't realize how lucky we are. I live in a 3-bedroom house, 4 bathrooms, big living room, nice kitchen, and we were building houses there for a family of 6, and it was a 16 by 16 house, but they were in tears because of how grateful they were for us. And like, sometimes people don't realize that, like, it's very, very eye-opening.
So it's a big difference between here and there.
Oh, so much difference. It's amazing how happy they are for what so little they have. We would give away toys, like little bitty McDonald's toys, and it's like giving a kid a brand new car, a brand new iPad back here.
Okay. So you flew out of what, Nashville?
Yes.
And where'd you go from there?
We went to Nashville, to Miami, then Miami to Tegucigalpa.
Tegucigalpa is the capital?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so what'd you do when you got there?
Well, day one we just moved into the mission house, and we met all of our teammates because it wasn't just the 7 or 8 people that I went with. There's actually more churches of Christ that came together and became a team. And then every day we would get 3 or 4 different tasks that we could do, whether it was build a house, go visit kids at a hospital, go visit an orphanage, and so then we would get to pick from there.
Oh, wow. So you got to pick what you wanted to do.
Most of the time, yes.
Neat. So what was your favorite part as far as like things to do?
It was pretty cool building a house because I got to go on the roof a lot, but I don't know. There was a special needs orphanage, and that was very eye-opening just because that's not very common here.
Right.
A lot of times if a family has a child with special needs, they take care of them. But in Honduras, families oftentimes don't have the means and the income and the right housing to be able to, so they have to take them away. And it's sad, but luckily at the special needs orphanage that we went to, they are able to visit however often they want, and the kids get really good care there.
Neat. All right. What's church like? Was it Spanish?
Yes, it was, but they had it was 2 services basically put into one. So we would get there and we'd get announced have the welcome in Spanish, and then there'd be a welcoming in English. They would sing a song in Spanish, we would sing a song in English, and then there was a translator, so they would preach in Spanish and then they'd translate it in English.
Neat.
It was pretty cool how real it was to them. They were really praising God every time.
Very neat. So how many people were in your group?
Well, at one point, because there was always people moving in and out, but we had up to 160 people there.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
It was a lot.
Was it hot?
Very. Well, actually, where we lived, we were at the top of the mountains, and so lots of times everybody would be wearing sweats, but once we got to where we were working, it was very hot.
There you go. All right, tell me about the food. What was the food like? Was it good? Las Portales?
I don't know about that. Lots of rice and not very many spices that we're used to, I guess you could say. But it was edible, that's for sure.
It was edible, all righty. Did you ever go to somebody's house and eat, or did y'all have a restaurant or eat at the hotel?
There was times that we were able to go out, and we went to this one place called the Valley of Angels, which it's kind of like a little shopping center, but we were able to go out to a Honduran restaurant if we want. It was very hard because everything's in Spanish, and you have to try to tell them in English what you want, so normally just kind of pointed.
There you go. All right. So you got to work in a special needs orphanage, you got to go to church, you got to build a house. Now, you did something at the dump. Is there a dump at Tegucigalpa?
Yes,
Is that
there
right?
is a dump, and it is a very big dump. And unlike how dumps work in America, where it's mainly just trucks pulling things in, bringing things out, and whatnot, there's actual people working and even living there. And so one day we came with a busload of people and huge boxes of just sandwiches.
Uh-huh.
And all these people were very hungry, but surprisingly they all lined up. They lined up in 3 lines, women, men, and children, and they were very patient. They weren't grabbing for food. They were all taking turns, and it was awesome to see how grateful they were for it.
Wow, that's neat. But it feels good, to be able to help people like that.
It
It's
really
neat.
does.
Okay, so anything else? What are the other sort of things?
Well, one day we went to an Indian reservation, and they were working on building a school there.
Ah.
So we had to learn how to make concrete, which is really tough. And then we also had to learn how to lay the bricks, which is very, I didn't realize how consistent and concise you had to be, or it would mess up the entire wall and we'd have to restart.
Oh, man.
But yeah, it was awesome.
Well, neat. So, say you're a high school person, or say you're in college, and you're trying to decide, I don't know if I want to go on a mission trip or not. What would you tell them? If they were thinking about it, what would you say to encourage them, or what sort of advice would you have for them?
I would say definitely go on a mission trip, because all the times people are talking about evangelizing and stuff and how you need to tell your friends about God and your family members about God. And it's tough. It's hard to tell people that are closest to you about that kind of stuff because you're scared about breaking the solid relationships that you have. And so, in a way, going on a mission trip to where you don't know anybody and you can spread the God there is a good little first step to be like, oh, wow, this really, it's an important change that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And also, just, how eye-opening of an experience it is for you. It probably changes your life more than you changed other people's lives.
Absolutely, I bet. Yeah, that's really neat. Think you'll ever go back, or is there
Oh.
anywhere else you want to go? What do you think?
I'd like to go all over the world. I just really, I'd love to do missions, every summer if possible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think that'd be good. Okay, well, what else we need to talk about?
Whatever.
There was a store that we went to one day called Mi Esperanza.
Yeah.
And there's a family that is originally from America that now lives in Honduras, and they started this store. And I want to say the average rate of poverty in Honduras is 80%, and 60% of that 80% is women.
Oh.
So automatically, if you're a woman, you're doomed. There's not going to be a way of income for you for the most part. And so this Mi Esperanza brings in women from wherever that don't have any way of income. And they teach them things like how to do hair, how to paint nails, how to make jewelry, clothes, even make coffee. They teach them a lot of things, and then they are able to go out, find a job. And when they had no house, walking on the streets, they're now able to have a house, give education to their children, buy computers, books, and they're really made to be well
Awesome.
off.
So you're able to change your family tree by them
Yes.
learning a trade and being able to do that. That's neat. That's
Yes.
very neat.
It's
Very
very
neat.
cool.
Okay, well, we've been Church of Christ. We're really proud of you, with you going to Freed Hardeman and with all the experience and everything that you've done for us here. And we're really proud that you went on this mission trip. That's a really neat thing. So
Thank you.
thank you very much.
If there's somebody on the fence who is they're thinking about going, but there's some factors that they're not wanting to go, what would you tell them to go
Go.
on any mission trip?
Don't think twice about it. I know that a lot of people are like, ooh, this is really scary. I'm in a place that I don't know about. Maybe there's a lot more danger here because we're not going to have protection. They don't speak our own language. But it's just one of those things that you should do, at least once, because it will change your life forever. You will learn things that you never would have even thought about. You would learn how to be happy with what you have because other people definitely don't have it lucky as you. You always hear that saying, you don't know how lucky you got, but there you realize it. You see how lucky you got. We have washers and dryers, and those people have a creek to wash their clothes in. We have stoves and oven, and they have a fire to cook their food over. And so we don't realize how lucky we got until we go and actually see
Right.
how lucky we are.
Right. That's good. That's very good.